Start with a flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. First thing I sent the minutes to everyone of the last meeting, which was June. What?
Put the microphones on. Everybody should have a microphone.
Okay.
Just
All right. Okay, I sent the minutes to everyone. Pull this out so it doesn't figure out. Of the June 6th meeting. Are there any corrections or additions?
I think I was present at the meeting and I'm not on this being present.
Okay, all right. Okay,
I'll go now to do nothing.
okay, I'll correct that.
Thanks.
Ed Carey. Okay. Any other additions or corrections? All right, can we entertain a motion to suspend with the reading? And
I'll make a motion to accept as read.
okay. Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right. Okay, minutes are all done. All right, well, going to the agenda, Chris is asked to take it out of order. So we'll skip the summer update and federal dredge update and go to the Slow No Wake proposal to the selectmen of Kirby Brook and North Hicks Bridge. You ready, Chris?
Sure.
Okay, what's your findings?
Good evening. Christopher Leonard, Director of Marine Services. We are here to talk about a slow no wake area that was originally proposed from the Kirby Brook area to the head of Westport. This went before the selectmen, not last meeting, but I believe it was the meeting before. And we had a public hearing and a lot of people came out to speak. Some in favor of the slow no wake, some against. And we're here to reconcile a clear and concise location for this slow no wake area. We could not make a decision at that selectmen's meeting, so then it got kicked back to the meeting that we are here before us. So we had a couple of variations. Let me just back up. I believe that everybody is in agreement that we are looking for slow no wake marker in the area of Kirby Brook to the head of Westport.
And that's for public safety.
That's a public safety thing.
Issue, correct.
We have a lot of kayakers, we have blind turns, and we have high rates of speed in this location. And we need to make a decision. Kirby Brook was what this board, for a line in the sand, was where we initially drew it. And it came to our attention that maybe at Kirby Brook that area was a little bit wider than 300 feet. Just backing up a jet ski within 150 feet from shore needs to be at headway speed. And so it was our maybe decision, and maybe in too broad of a stroke, to designate Kirby Brook area. We also had somebody from the public that said a better line might be 31 Amy's Way. And so in looking at the 31, is it Ames Way or Amy's Way? Amy's Way, thank you. So we looked at 31 Amy's Way, and then we looked at the Kirby Brook entrance, and trying to come up with a resolution for a location. And then looking at the chart, we have charts here right now that we're looking at, and what I have taken a look at is that there is a Henry Arruda or Henry Arrudis Lane, specifically 418 number letter B, Aruta's Way, which is directly across the road from Widow's Point. And I think for the sake of settling for a line, we had Kirby Brook, we had 31 Amy's Way. This is directly in between the two. If anybody would like to take a look at this chart and see.
So Widow's Point is on the,
We'll just say, looking at the chart, it's on the right-hand side.
yeah, okay, because that's what I wanted to say. It's
Yes.
on the, opposite the Drift Road side.
Yes.
Correct, okay. So you're stating the 418 Aruda Way is on the...
Aruta Lane.
Aruda Lane is on the Drift Road side?
That is on the Drift Road side.
Okay,
yes.
Aruta.
And then
Aruta
the
Way.
Widow's Point would be directly across from that. Now, there's a few things that we have to that we looked at for this. Coming around the turn of Widow's Point, we might want to slow people down as you're coming up the river and get to Widow's Point. It does bend towards the east. And so now if we have a location that is more or less 300 feet at the first kind of bend that we're looking at in the river from Widow's Point, I think that to split the difference between Kirby Brook and 31 Amy's Way might be a suggestion from myself as to where we draw this line.
Is this because there's a 300-foot, it does narrow a little bit up at Widow's Point. Is that because it's 300 feet up there, or is there a reason that the buoy is easier to put in there, or?
We're just trying to split the difference from the public hearing. The Harbor Advisory made a motion for Kirby Brook. It was brought to our attention from the public hearing that maybe we should go a little bit further up. And I think for the sake of splitting it down the middle and being fair, I think that this is a reasonable location. It might be a little bit like I Love Lucy, but we need to make some sort of action because there's been a lot of people worried for the public safety. And ultimately, we're just looking for one slow no wake buoy in this area.
So this 31 Amy's
Yes,
Way,
yes.
and you're looking for a place between Widow's Point and that, is that what?
Widow's Point is the place between Kirby Brook and 31
Okay,
Amy's
all right,
Way.
okay, that's,
And it is the first portion of that river where it does taper,
yeah,
and there is a turn that could be a blind turn if somebody was going
Yeah,
at high
that-
rate speed.
that's what they call the Narrows, correct? Okay. that's-
Okay, Widow Point is 600 feet, just shy of it by 5 feet. At Widow's Point, it's about 450 feet across one side to the other.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I see that, okay.
That's how much it narrows.
How much
Yeah,
does one of these
going-
cost?
Going north and narrows.
Going narrows, it
down.
narrows.
I believe a slow no wake for the buoy itself is somewhere around $600. Then you have to have the line, the thimbles, the ground tackle, you know, so we're talking
And-
$600-700 bucks.
And then to install it and maintain it?
That would just be part of the routine. We
Yeah.
would just add it to because we already have about 80 private aids to navigation. So that would be all of the channel markers, all of the rock markers, all of the slow no wakes that we already take care of.
Yep.
And this would just be another thing. It would probably be fully removed in the wintertime because the water is so brackish up there that even if we were to put a setup, it would get dragged all over the place because it is a place that does freeze.
Right.
So this is, to the best of my ability, coming up with a reasonable solution after the public hearing that's here before us right now.
John, you've got the charts. Any other input? I mean, Everett Cove, it seems to widen out there.
Like I say, it's 600 feet, it was about 595 feet at Kirby's Brook from the closest point of land
Okay.
on the west to the closest point of land on the west, on the east side.
Yeah, that big,
So
that curve,
if
yeah,
it's,
top of the curve.
if it's 300 feet, that's the keep off, that's where it should fall within those guidelines. You're only talking,
I know.
quarter of a mile from one point to the other.
Yeah.
We're splitting hairs. If we're gonna try and stay within the 300 feet that it calls for, Kirby Brook's where it should be, regardless of what, I mean, we have rules and regs, and the state has rules and regs.
Well, if you look at what was given to us from the public hearing, and we're looking at the north side of Kirby Brook that goes across there, we're looking at 469 feet.
Yep.
I believe if we make it up towards Widow's Point, we would then have a decrease. Now, we're not going to the inch or the foot of this.
Yeah. I-
We're trying to do it in broad.
There's a state and a town regulation, is that correct? On keep off distance from shore of speed, no wake speed?
Right now, in the Harbor Master rules and regulations, it would be 400 feet for a jet ski to operate at headway speed from pretty much anything.
And doesn't the state also have a regulation that
Yes, that is 150 feet.
300 feet total?
Yes.
So Widow's Point, I mean, Kirby's Brook falls within both those, the middle of it. If that's 469, it'd be
469 feet from that.
divided by 2 would be, 230 feet. That's the closest, that's as close as it would be to land if it was exactly in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see any problem in going to Widow's Point, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're not really within the regulations that we have.
No, I think that's a great point, because if you've been out there, you know there's phragmites around that sharp turn, and you can't see anything. So you
Yeah.
really have to get it at least there. I mean, that,
I think that that's a revised starting point from what we came at it from the meeting before. Does anybody on the board have, or the committee, have any other comments on something that pertains to this?
Has there been any more issues?
I have not received any phone calls.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Just asking, but if both Kirby Brook and Widow's, I mean, if Kirby Brook is within the regulations, isn't the point to get people to slow down before they come to the turn?
I think at,
And
if
they
it was,
come
if
flying
it,
around the turn,
well, if it were to be at Widow's Point, it is a clear view. Once you hit Widow's Point, then you lose it.
but you still have to get around the corner.
Yeah,
The
so,
buoy would be before that, though.
so you're saying put the buoy before, just about
Yes, before you make
before
the
that
turn.
turn?
So,
Yes.
so what is the objection?
The objection is to slow jet skiers down to the state regulation. Now, I've said this before, that I have a feeling that if something like this were to go to court with the Westport rules and regulations, I don't know how well it would fare.
Chris,
It would be,
I think you asked for an objection, what the objection is?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have the objection. He has the object of what he wants to provide for safety. That's what his idea is. I have an objection, which when the chairman gives me time to speak, I can take, no, I just.
well, if the,
The
did I
objective,
answer your question?
Well, I don't
Can you just
understand
give it one
if
more
Kirby
time?
Point is within the regulations, why we need to move it to Widow's.
It goes back to the rules and regulations that were made long ago for a jet ski is 400 feet. Now it is up for myself and this Harbor Advisory Committee to make a recommendation. Personally, I feel that it would not stand up in a courtroom. If we were to go to a courtroom, God forbid some sort of accident were to happen or something like that, I believe that a 400-foot jet ski regulation from the shore, docks, piers, beaches, anything like that, might not hold up in a court of law.
But the state is 300 feet, it's more
The
strict.
state is 150 feet.
It's
So that's even more
150 feet
strict.
each shoreline.
So if they don't recognize in a court of law our thing, the state's is stricter. So I don't understand why, we should just take ours right off the books and just go by the state?
Well, that'll be something else to take that other one off the book, but
But with the state
150
being
feet
strict,
from
is-
shore
No, the
is
state is not
300
stricter.
feet.
The town of
if it's
Westport is
150
stricter.
feet,
That is the state, yes.
so that means it's 300 feet wide, that's the most you can,
Yes, the town says it's 400 feet, so it would be 800 feet. Now, if we can look at if we want to mark out 800 feet on the chart,
It's like all over the place. Yeah,
it's a little, it's ridiculous.
yeah.
And this was something that back in the day, jet skis were a problem in the Westport River. And I believe at 400 feet, the jet ski has to stay away from anything, that they were trying to eradicate jet skis with this, because the town rule and regulation is stronger.
Can I hear what the objection is?
Are we clear? Are we clear where we're at right now?
Yes.
Could do Kirby, state law.
Yeah.
That would be 300 feet
Yeah,
Kirby is-
No, 150 feet from shore.
from either side of the
So
shore.
it's
which would be
300 feet
300.
wide.
If you look at Kirby
That's-
Brook on this, it's 469 feet.
so it's
But it's-
less than the 300.
No, 300 from within the shore. No, 150 within the shore. Meaning 300 feet wide is, that's the limit. If
Yeah,
it's
but-
150 feet from shore, the middle of the river, if it's 300 feet, it's just, you have to go to no wake at that point.
And the town of Westport, if you're going in the middle with the rules and regulations that the harbor master had, it's 800 feet on either side. 400 feet on one side, 400 feet on the other side. So that would be a total of 800 feet if you were going down the middle, which I believe is a little unreasonable and would not stand up in a court of law.
Is that how it reads? 400 feet from the nearest,
Yes,
400 feet
400 feet.
to the nearest.
From, sure.
So does the state supersede the town? Or-
Well, presumably not.
I guess it's the question.
I would think so.
I would think so too.
I mean, because it hasn't been tested, you know. The town, like Chris said,
I mean, as things unfold,
Hasn't been-
everything's going to be tested. This is a year that the Westport River that is unseen ever with the populace out on the Westport waterfront.
mhm.
And so we need to make some decisions here because it's only going to get
If you're
worse.
feeling uncomfortable with it, I would make a motion to move it to Widows Brook and change the bylaw this winter
Well,
to agree with the state.
we would probably want to hear anybody from the audience that has
Okay.
something to say.
I'm
Are we
listening.
ready to do that?
Didn't it happen before the selectmen as a public hearing 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
It happened, but at that point in time, the select board asked if we were ready to make a motion. And at that point in time, we had different information that came to us that needed to come back here for us to figure out.
What different
at that-
information? We already
at
made a
Different
motion.
information.
What different information showed up?
Okay.
We already voted on this.
Let's have the
Okay.
person that has the different information come up here to the microphone and speak, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, come on up. Get here. Take one of those. However that works, I guess.
Just state your name so it's on the
Yep.
tape, please.
My name is David Simcoe. I've lived in town all my life. I live on Donovan's Lane in Westport, which is just south of the location that we're talking about, just south of Whittles Point. The reason I'm here tonight is, and I looked at your minutes back on the April meeting when you got a complaint from a couple of people living on basically this Henry Aruta's laneway about jet skis. And if this is about jet skis, I'm all for it. Do whatever you guys got to do for jet skis. I'm not here advocating for jet skis. One of my problem is restricting the piece from Kirby Brook all the way to the head at a no-wake zone, which doesn't fall into the criteria of, it's not all 300 feet with the 150 feet. If you're trying to target specific jet ski issues, it's an enforcement issue. It's Marine Patrol Division. Let me back up one thing. I've been a police officer for 34 years. I just retired. Back in 1997, I was on a jet ski patrol that the town of Westport had. We had a jet ski given to us by Kawasaki, and we had community policing money at the time that we were put out there. We did education with jet skiers. We did enforcement with jet skiers. We worked along with, at the time, the harbor master was Richie Earl. We worked along with them and targeted specific areas and places where we could go that they couldn't with that big boat and so forth. So my issue is there's an area behind Fallon Drive that is 500, 600 feet wide for a whole area. They can tube, you can do, I don't do that anymore as far as I have a pontoon boat. I can't be going up there playing around. But with just a kid with a whaler, anything like that, there's an area up there that you can use. People pay for you know, the dock fees and everything else, and they have their boats right there. They're gonna have to crawl out. If I went for ice cream with my kids, I'd have to come back, it'd be a frap by the time I get back to my house. It would-
You gonna make a way with a pontoon boat?
That's what, yeah, no, but I just go, so it's too big. So, that's my issue. I suggested, and this is what I see Mr., he's over there, his thing is, I'm sure, much more accurate than me putting a pin on that page. That's mine, by the way, sir.
Okay.
It's just that, all I did was took Google Earth, I went here,
Yep.
Kirby Brook.
I measured straight across east to
Absolutely, no,
west.
and listen,
That's
I
right,
defer
Jim.
to you, I'm
Yeah.
not, but this is what I did simply. What I did was I went, the complaint you got, and as far as I'm concerned, this is a noise complaint masked as public safety. Because I checked, so for 34 of the years, I don't remember any complaints with kayakers. I went to the kayak shop and asked, and Chris did also. We got zero complaints, am I correct? With kayakers, from kayakers. This person that sent you the letter states that, and it's in, I think it's in your minutes here, that's just, I'm afraid of something happening. Or I'm afraid of getting eaten by a shark, but I still swim. You know what I mean? You're not gonna, you guys aren't gonna, you know, turn around and they're not gonna stop us from swimming at East Beach or so forth.
I agree, this is public domain, and kayakers don't have the right of way, jet skis don't have the right of way, you and I don't have a right of way, all
Right.
public
Right.
domain.
No, so I'm just looking for, I wanted to move this, or suggest that we move it to the 300-foot area, which I measured, like I said, it could be inches here, I'm not worried, 31 Amy's Way, to the Everett Cove, which is the whole, and you've got it there, I might have another one here, I can, ladies and gentlemen, yeah. Where it opens up, yep, but this is a little bigger for you if you want. Yep, but where it opens up to 504 feet. You want to
And
show
Everett's
it?
Cove.
Is that Widow's Point? Is that Widow's?
No, Widow's Point would be, Widow's Point's right over here.
Yeah, Widow's Point is narrow, Everett's Cove is the broad area, correct?
It's
Yeah.
way
Everett's
past-
Cove is where it opens up, so that
Yeah,
section.
There's a cove
But that's
that
way
goes
past.
on the east side of the
So
river.
it's about 2,800 feet long, so that would be a no-wake zone, if that's what you're looking for. That little area would have to end and then open up when it goes behind either Fallon Drive and
So you're
Sandpiper
saying,
Drive.
so your wish, you wouldn't have any problem from Everett Cove to, I mean, yeah, from Widow's Point to Everett Cove, but once they got to Everett Cove,
Well, the Widow's Point deal is on the opposite side of the road, and I understand, Mr., he ended up with Kirby Brook and Widow's Point, the section there. And like I said, you just put, when I read the article, it was the northern terminus of, you know, so I took that as, I tried to go as far as I could to the north and just went across. And that's where I got the 406, whatever.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
The
that's good.
footages, so that's larger. So I went to a spot where it ended up narrowing a little bit to 300 feet, which happens to be just in front of the gentleman, his house that wanted to basically put a no-wake zone in front. And that's what, these two people that you get the letters from live next door to each other on this particular thing of Henry Aruta's Lane. It's 418, B and G, whatever the letters are, or whatever else. That's what, that's all I'm concerned about. Where does it stop? We're gonna go in, if you'll target specific jet skis, then we've got to do something about jet skis. I 100% agree. I don't know what else you can do, but let's not hit every boat. We're killing a mosquito with a flamethrower here. Everything gets annihilated. And that's what
I
I'm,
compare it to a motor vehicle or a motorcycle, they're both vehicles on the highway.
motorcycle will drive you nuts with the noise, but you
But-
turn around and you
but
can't stop at
You
20
can't
miles an
stop, you
hour.
can't stop the noise, you know, that's not my
That, you gotta
right.
target specific.
But if you're saying that where Everett Brook Cove
That
opens up,
Then there's another.
then it narrows down right
It
after
does,
that.
and to be honest with you, I've never seen jet ski. My house overlooks, I've got a beautiful view, a whole area that I can see. The jet skis are far and few between. They come up on, for one, it's only at high tide.
Yeah.
When they come up at low tide, they don't go anywhere, they can't.
Right, it's dangerous.
I've never, no, it's dangerous, they're in the mud. Every once in a while, you get somebody that, they're not familiar with the area, they come from the Hicksbridge ramp, they come up and they kind of look around, they don't know where they're going. When they see it narrow around, they turn around, they go back. They don't want to go up there. There's rocks up there, there's a few other things up there that are marked.
Well, that was some of the stuff we're talking about, the safety aspect of it.
Yeah, and as far as the
All
safety,
the way to the head, in theory, what's on the books now, you'd take the no-wake down at Everett Cove, go 1/8 of a mile and put them back up again.
right,
So
Yeah, so,
But it's just, my thing was like, we could put these no-wake zones everywhere. I mean, you guys will run out of money as far as.
That's what's gonna happen.
That's what everybody will want, a specific area in front of the house. Oh, I want a no-wake zone over here, because there's a piece of marsh or there's something else over here. That's all. These are, so, after my years of service with the police department, I went for these past 3 years and I asked, hey, how many complaints do we have? I've got 2, both from the gentleman who wrote the letters. And basically, it's just the jet skis, and it's not specifically, nothing to do with a kayak. They weren't in a kayak. There hasn't been one kayak that I've seen. I'm in that river every day.
The kayak subject came up in our meeting as far as a safety issue with jet skis going fast and a guy kayaking in a narrow canal.
Yep. I mean, the only incident
that's the
we
only
had-
kayak stuff that I remember we talked about at our April meeting.
The only incident I can remember ever up there, and I say ever up there, whatever, is south of the bridge where the kids ran aground.
Yeah.
That's south of the bridge, south of everything else. Nothing.
It's got nothing to do with
I've
this.
been there for 22 years. 22 years. I've lived in town for almost 60. It's just, there's nothing I remember up there that any type, I mean, the only rescue or things we've had is people that have been overdue. They've gone out, and they've had to, they've called up and they say, we're lost, we can't get back, the tide's running the wrong way, the wind, whatever it is. But no accidents. And I believe me, I know stuff can happen. Tomorrow something could happen. I mean, it's just that, but there's nothing. It's just, that's what is restricting the river where we just can't utilize it for what it's used. And all you're gonna do is move the problem somewhere else. You're gonna take, if I don't want them in my neighborhood, but if there's an area that they can jet ski and you do completely put it, they're just gonna move downriver. They're gonna go somewhere else. Now, as far as the restriction, you guys, it said something about the 400 foot that's in the regulations and so forth.
That's also for water skiing too.
No, and I understand that. That's been around for a while, and I think what Chris, I think it was because, hey, let's try to restrict this and try to eradicate the jet skis. And what they did is they didn't test it. And what happens is the Attorney General's office will shoot it down if it gets before them, if they find out it's true. The state always, we've done things with that, with the police department, where you end up having a rule that's a little too restrictive, and they revert back to the state. So it costs you money and attorneys later on. And I'm not saying, but if you've got the 400, that'll already dictate what they can do. You just need somebody to enforce it.
The research I've done is, we can't say jet ski specifically
No,
because.
it's a vessel.
In east, yes. So, what we're talking about is just general public safety and speed.
Right.
It has nothing to do with jet skis.
Right.
They got as much right to be on the river as anybody else.
And I agree, I mean, I do agree, but I only went off of, that was the complaint.
Yeah.
The actual complaint from the gentleman were jet skis, and nothing else.
I think we made that clear to them that jet skis have as much right to be on the river as anything else. So then we get into the safety issue. There's
If they
rocks, there's
sounded
a
what-
stone wall that comes out into the river there's logs.
There's a lot of things, but
Yeah.
it's just, it's a beautiful area. It's not heavily used by jet skis. I do see some jet skis every once in a while. There's somebody that probably has one up a little further north there, whatever else, but they
But
come down and they're gone.
if we forget jet skis, no wake speed, 5 to 6 knots or less, seems reasonable
Oh, it is,
as it gets narrower.
it is.
So
And most
we're
people
probably
do that.
we're putting up more of a speed limit than a no wake.
The other thing that I would suggest is just that, so that, I think his name was Nate Gifford, he designed or put up an information booth basically at the head.
Yes.
Right.
The head.
There's one at Hicksbridge and there's one at.
Oh, I'm sorry,
88
Hicksbridge, I said
Yep.
the head.
Yeah, it was an Eagle Scout project.
Eagle Scout
Yeah.
project, exactly. There's nothing on there. There's a chart there that gives you the approaches. It's as big as that. There's nothing, maybe if we can get one that says the river, just that section of the river, low, stay out of there as far as like, safety zone.
We do have at the boat ramps, I know at the 88 boat ramp, I had 4 signs made. 2 for the 88 boat ramp and 2 for the Hicksbridge boat ramp. And the signs are specifically for jet skis, and it has the state regulation, amongst other things that jet skis can't do. But it also has, jet skis cannot operate within 150 feet from shore, other boats, swimming areas, all these stuff. So we do have that information there. It's not in the kiosk, but it is at the ramps. As you're launching your vessels, there's the 2 signs. We can make more signs
Yeah,
and put a chart up that shows this, but it's going to be the first blanketed, well, it's not blanketed, it would be kind of patchwork for slow wakes, and that's what we're looking at right now. We already have a slow no wake from the Fontaine Bridge to the mouth of the Westport River. That's a slow no wake specifically for mooring fields, trips and all the other commercial people and all that stuff. And, well, we also have a slow no wake area in and around the town marked channel that I take care of by Lakes Island, because that is also a blind turn, and there's a lot of boats that are moored and docked in that area, and the Westport River is seeing boats today that have 900,000 horsepower, and
I
these
saw
people go
With four 450s.
450s, yep, and they want to go up and take a look.
The great
half
gas
throttle,
eliminator, huh?
going through here, and long gone are the days of the 13-foot whalers and wooden skiffs.
Was that a police program, police department program, or a town program?
No, it was a police department program. It was a former police chief, we had community policing money, and when he found out that we had some issues, and I don't know if he discussed those issues with Richie at the time or what the deal was, but there were some complaints, so why don't we start something like that? Kawasaki gave us the jet ski. The fire department has 2 jet skis. I'm sure you can get somebody that's on the police department now that,
We
you know.
could rent them. We could borrow them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's something you can probably talk to. Well, the harbor master's office can just, you know, like I said, I don't know, they use them for just, you know, rescue and training missions.
For rescue things.
I mean, my issue in the whole area has been, it's unenforceable. I mean,
It is
by the
a-
time you get a call and you get up there, if you can get there, because of the tide,
It's just like a
it's over.
motorcycle, but-
It's like a speed limit sign. It's those who want to obey it.
But what you need to do is have people out there educating them when you see them at the ramp or when you see them, and I know
we
what
do.
we talk.
We have the rules and regulations that are photocopied and clipped out, and we've been handing them out to jet skiers as long as I've been doing what I'm doing. That we hand out and we try to educate. We do our best to educate.
Yeah.
But a lot
And then you gotta
these-
fine them. If they don't pay attention, you gotta fine them.
Yeah,
It's just,
that's how it works.
it's just, yeah.
Case well made, thank you. Do you have any pull at the police department?
It's just, talk to Keith
What?
Pelletier, the police chief.
You can be our representative.
Yeah. It's
I make
not,
a motion, have him be the honorary member of the harbor advisory.
one thing I do notice, I know there's a money issue with, you know, you only have so much salary issues, you only have so many,
Yeah.
assistant harbor masters and marine people, but you do, so your budget is controlled completely, it's an enterprise fund, correct? No tax dollars are used for
Right.
this, right?
That's right.
Oh, the roads. You actually take in a little bit more than you actually spend your budget, correct?
If
Barely.
we're lucky.
If
No,
we're
no,
lucky.
it varies from year
For
to year.
us to, for
Not,
us,
not in thousands.
No, no,
For us,
it's menial. Yeah.
for us to do business with the town, we have to spend $55,000 for indirect costs.
Yep.
Just to do business with the town. The harbor master budget is $136,000. So if you add that with the 55, we need to pull in close to 200K just to do what we're doing right now.
I did have something here, it's just, I noticed from one of the town, and I only wanted to ask you that, because I'm not 100% sure. But one of the things was $195,000, it looked like you took in with fees, and that includes boat excise tax. Do you have control over that?
Boat excise tax
Split?
is split.
Yep, no, I
So
see.
we get half, so then that would be, it's usually somewhere around $22,000 a year?
21.6, yep.
Something like
No,
that,
you're
yeah.
right on the money.
Yep.
No, it's just that, so the total paid by boaters in 2021 was $194,695.
Yes.
And your budget was less than that. Quite.
Plus the $55,000 indirect cost
No, it's,
that you could add.
I've
to
got
that.
the indirect cost, that was
Okay,
added
that's
in.
included, and that indirect cost unfortunately is probably going up
Yeah.
in the condition of the town at this point in time.
Yeah, I think.
No, in
this is
case
out
you
of
need,
order.
I'm just saying, it's just, I know you
Telling
utilize
us to pay for, telling the harbor to pay for it?
for the, yeah, no, not the police part of it. I'm not talking, but if they need to, basically what I was trying to figure out, if there was some issues with, you said that you only had $10,000 for your assistance
Yeah, that was
or,
an approximate $10,000, $12,000.
yeah.
And sometimes if I don't use that money for part-time as-needed people. We have things like hurricanes that come.
Oh, yeah.
Then all of a sudden, you're like way over. We also, the way that I can run that enterprise is that I don't have to spend it all and it rolls over.
All right.
And then it
That's-
helps pay for me being in the
My
red.
concern going back into the general fund where you don't get to utilize it. That's all
No,
I
it
was,
does
it's just a
not.
point of like,
No,
if you need to
it
spend
does
some
not.
money on, utilize some of that money.
Yeah.
That's money that we're paying as voters.
Yeah.
And that's all I was concerned with. It's just,
Yeah, oh, sure.
I'm not looking to
The
bail
thing
the
is that
town out of other
The way,
problems.
the way that we're running right now, it's a break even.
Yep.
And we try to go for the break even. Sometimes we make a little bit more. Sometimes we get caught, with our shoes off.
No, I get it. You
And
guys-
so,
You do an excellent
It's,
job. I don't have any problem with anybody on the harbor advisory. And it's just, when this came about, I just was shocked that it was just gonna be the 2 miles, basically, of, that's what I'm concerned with, so.
sure.
But thank you very much.
Has anybody got some comments?
I don't know if we have any other comment from the audience.
Do you have any other comments on slow no wake in that zone?
I have a comment on slow no wake, but not to that zone.
Okay.
When it's appropriate, I approach the bench.
Let's get this one straightened out and then
Yeah, okay,
let him go next.
yes. Okay, is it? So the big concern that Mr. Simcoe raised was that it widens out in the Everett Cove area, correct?
Yes, but
Is it prudent?
it's not a cove like you look at a Gilligan's Island cove
I know,
where it's
yeah.
a gigantic thing.
I
It's
know, there's a
another
lot of
branch that
marsh
goes-
and-
And if you want to interpret it that it goes to 500 feet, yes. Once you take that turn though, and you are heading into Everett Cove, it's a small little
Very
thing.
shallow, too.
Yeah, it gets
It's a
really
small
shallow.
thing,
I
it's
tried
very
to go up there
shallow.
by whaler, it was like,
We're,
yow.
we're not going to when you think of a cove, you think of a big cove. Yes, it is a cove by definition, but, and
I
if
mean,
you want to go from
there's
shore,
water there,
if you want to
but-
go to shore to the, yes, it's going to look like a big thing. Once
But-
you make that turn into Everett Cove, what's the shore
Navigation
to
is,
shore?
okay,
I mean, it's going to be,
Yeah.
it's not much. And
navigable is questionable, correct?
It is definitely navigable. It's just once you take the turn into Everett Cove, you are in another small area.
Yeah.
You know?
Mr. Chairman, just so- in case I made a mistake, I wasn't suggesting anything to do with inside. It was just Everett Cove was the limit of where, from Amy's Way to Everett Cove would have been the no-wake zone. From Everett Cove further up to, through Fallon Drive, that's where it's open. That's a couple thousand yards almost, all the way up to Sandpiper Drive. That's where, the cove itself, that was just a landlock. for water.
Somebody make a motion.
We
Anybody-
want a little bit more discussion.
Well, I'm just not sure, I don't have a problem with the Widow's Point area, that's a narrow area, okay? Where is it exactly, because I don't see it on the chart. I mean, maybe John, maybe we're gonna look at what John's got there.
Are you talking about the line for Widow's Point?
Yeah, the Widow's Point line to where?
It would be
It's
418 Henry Arudis Lane, is what I was looking to be a reasonable
Okay.
location. 418B.
For simplicity, you're on the same latitude, as Widow Point, which is 36 minutes and 4 minutes. Like, you get a perfect intersection
A perfect intersection.
of lot and lawn.
Sure.
So
That's more or less what I was
that's
trying to
where-
draw with the.
That's where you probably want to get it slowed down anyway, to see it around the
All right,
bend.
well,
Yes.
John's got the chart. You want to make a motion, a proposal, because since you got the numbers.
Well, yeah. 41
If it
degrees.
helps you guys, this is it, what he's proposing.
Oh, we're looking for a Latin long right now.
No, but just, this is 418
Yeah.
Drift Road, and this is Widow's Point. This is where I said Amy's Way, but this is 418 Drift Road. This is Henry Ruta's Lane that comes in here. So you guys, so you're aware of it. It makes it easier than it's.
For you, I was looking at Google Maps for that address and that location
That's it.
to be a reasonable,
That's Google.
to be a reasonable location in between the Kirby Brook and then the 31 Amy's Way. That was discussed at the previous meeting. I believe that we need to draw a line in the sand somewhere.
My,
In the mud. We need to draw a line in the mud and Phragmites somewhere.
Okay, is this what we're talking about?
Yes.
This is what? Is this Widow Point or?
I think that's Widow Point, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Milton, you're probably the most familiar with this of anybody here, right?
What's that?
Of this area?
Yeah, well, when I had my old skiff, I went up there quite a bit. My concern, as I said before, was that there's no visibility coming around that corner because of the Phragmites. You're in a canyon there.
Right.
Then when you get up to the cove, the other thing there's no chart that has all the rocks in there.
No.
There are lots of rocks that are underwater, you know, what do you call it, and high tide. Even at high tide, they're very close. So boats going through there quickly, I'm sure that everyone that has a boat up there knows where those
Yeah.
rocks are. But the
Right.
people who are coming up there that don't live up there, they're not marked on any chart. I put them on my own chart, but, because I hit one of them once, going slowly, of course. But that's my concern about the safety up there, is if you're going fast through there, those rocks, and this is not for jet skis because they don't draw that much water, but for any boat that doesn't know that area,
They draw something.
it's
though.
unsafe.
I'm, wondering if you put a no wake sign up there, if people think you can go fast, if there actually is water there. And it works against us, but.
I mean, at this point in time, between the complaints that we've had, the Harbor Master Department does not mark any rocks north of Hicks Bridge or marks anything north of Hicks Bridge other than this one Slow No Wake buoy. So between the rocks that are up there, the logs that are up there, high rates of speed, blind turns, what else can we throw with this?
But it's any boat, it's
Paddle,
not just
you
jet
know,
skis.
it's anybody.
Yeah.
When I go up there, and because we have had tow jobs that happened at the stone house that's up at the head. When I go up there in any town vessels, as soon as I get beyond Widow's Point, I slow right down. I've never taken a leg off of an outboard. Yet.
Yet.
And if you're gonna do it, oh yeah. If you're gonna do it, that's going to be the
All right.
place. So there's a lot of things up there, and I am afraid that this is going to open up where everybody wants a policeman in front of their house slowing traffic down. And I think that that's unreasonable. And if things keep pushing forward, it would be easier to blanket the whole river as a Slow No Wake river from Saturdays and Sundays. I don't want to see it. I don't want to turn this into the No Fun River. But when we have a lot of people pushing and a lot of people coming out, we have to listen and we have to take a look at what's before us. And what I'm seeing is what we've just talked about of all of these hazards in that
So
location.
is the primary thing we're talking about safety in a narrow rock, logs?
It's
Is that kind of what we're talking about?
it's part of it. It's not the sole reason. I don't want to have these blanketed areas of Slow No Wake here and there, whatever, because that's also an enforcement nightmare.
Right, but now
Because
you have the
then-
300 feet thing, and that goes by the law, so
The
that's,
300 feet, that's a start. That's
Yeah.
pointing us in the right direction, is
Yeah.
to say, well, the state of Massachusetts says 300 feet.
yeah.
And so,
So,
That's any
if-
vessel, is that
if-
correct?
Yeah,
no,
any vessel, isn't it?
it's 150 feet
From
for a
shore.
jet ski, from shore, from everything else. When you're on a boat, like a skiff or whatever, 150 feet from another boater. And we can take a look. Or in any marked channel, should be Slow No Wake headway speed. We do not have that in the Westport River at this time. And these are marked channels, including the channels that I mark in the east and west branch. And we leave it up to the prudent boater to do the right thing. And what we're seeing is the prudent boater is not paying attention to their surroundings as best they could. And so now here we are, looking to draw a line in the sand. And of course, nothing's forever. If we find out that we want to put a slow no wake in this area, and for some reason it doesn't work, it blows up in our face, we want a reversal, things can be reversed, just as they can be brought forward and motions made. So,
Is there a way to make a slow
Well,
no
we're an
wake
advisory
for,
board. We make a motion to the selectmen, and
and they gotta make the
decide.
decision, yeah.
So.
So it's just where do we draw the
Decide what
line?
we think is, advisory opinion to the selectmen.
Okay.
I mean, also,
Well-
what are you gonna have on the buoy? Is it no wake here north, or is it just no wake?
it's probably gonna have no wake here north. There was question about would there be a slow no wake at the terminus on the other end? And Mother Nature pretty much makes that, because I don't know if anybody's been up under the head bridge and beyond there, it turns into a freshwater stream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
I haven't been up
There's a
there.
washed out dam about 100 yards north of the.
Yeah,
It sounds-
Mhm.
It sounds as if it's the kind of place that if you want to injure yourself, there's plenty of opportunity.
Come on a boat, there's always an opportunity
All
there.
right.
So the reality is nobody's going to be going very fast anyway. And as soon as you get down to that other bowl, I mean, the places jet skis are going to misbehave is where there's some water.
It's everywhere.
What?
Is everywhere. When you have a vessel that travels at that high rate of speed and you have a full tank of gas and want to go exploring, you can see the whole Westport River in about 15 minutes. And then it's boring. I mean, I would advocate for more jet skis to have fun in the ocean.
right.
So, we get down, you have actual, points. One of them was,
One of them would be 418
yeah,
and the other
and
one
that's about there,
more or less, yep, before we turn. And then Widow's Point would be
the other,
to the east,
yeah.
to the east of
Okay.
418.
I mean, kind of,
So does someone want to make a motion
All right, I'll make a
yeah,
motion.
see, when,
From-
it seems to me
We make a motion that from,
What, do you want to,
yeah, it
Okay,
seems
why
to
don't you
me
finish?
we're trying to do a micro solution to a macro problem.
no, we're picking a point and further up the river. I don't, there's nothing macro
this is
about it.
what's under our microscope right now.
This is, but, yeah, but we're supposed to give advice,
I understand, but
so we're giving advice.
nobody's gonna be
So
making,
I'm gonna make a motion that we draw a line from, whatever that number was,
like,
418 Drift Road?
418B
Henry Arruda Lane.
to,
works better.
Wait, wait,
Better than
wait a
signs,
minute.
'cause
Okay.
nobody pays
Yeah.
attention to signs anyway. I mean, I think you can make a case for not putting a sign there.
I mean, the speed limit sign is a
vote
suggestion.
against it. I'm
Whether,
just making a motion, you don't have to vote for it.
Oh, okay.
418B,
To
Henry
Widow
Aluna
Point,
Lane, across to
Widow Point,
Widow Point.
north will be a no-wake zone in the river. You don't even have
North.
to second it, that's, I just think that's where we, got us where we are now.
that this is the evolution of the beginning to the select board meeting to back here again, and it's gonna go back to the select board meeting. We need to do the best job for the select board because we have the expertise where the select board needs our help for,
But we're not changing anything from the last time we set something up here.
we're changing, well, we're going further north,
We're going much
Further north,
further
yeah.
north, okay.
yes.
So do I have a second?
Second.
Nope. Okay, any further discussion? The motion reads, it's the proposed slow no wake from point 418B Henry Arruda Lane across from Widow Point, then north to the head bridge. Is that
That-
correct?
that-
Is
that
that,
sounds-
is that,
yep,
is that
that
what we
sounds-
want? Any further discussion? All in favor? please raise your right hand.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No opinion. And I have no opinion.
Abstain.
Abstain? Okay.
No, you can't abstain, so I'll vote no, just
No
to
law.
be contrary.
4.
No law.
Okay, so we'll prepare that motion and send that to the selectmen. Now, that, they said, what, the 25th?
That would be going to the 25th.
The
I'm
20th?
not sure if this is going to be another public hearing for this. Or if
I
they
don't
do-
know.
They continued the hearing to a time certain, the 25th,
Yes.
6:05.
Thank you.
Yeah, they said it would be the first thing on the agenda. Okay. Okay. All right, you want to go on with the other business?
Let's get Mark out of here.
Sure. Let's hear from another member of the audience.
Come on up.
Okay,
Come on up, Mark.
so this is like a
Oh,
condemned man walking to, because this is gonna be,
To your doom.
listening to you guys,
think we're on
with
the
the
same boat.
difficulty you're having coming up with the decision on this one area, and all the things I've been hearing about, you know, is this gonna open up the Pandora's box? Well, so I do ask that you're going to make a recommendation to the selectmen, that you consider, and for the same arguments that you're making on this zone, that you consider some other areas in the river. And I don't think that's unreasonable, that we're not trying to make a no-fun river. We're not trying to restrict the whole river. And this isn't an anti-jet ski issue. This is a public safety issue in areas of the river, and I will talk about one specific one in a minute, where it gets very narrow, just as narrow as what you're talking about here. And there are other such areas, but I will talk about this one because I'm familiar with it. And it's very much a public issue, a public safety issue, because I have, well, let me point to the area here so that you understand what I'm talking about.
Let me just say that I don't think we can bring this up to piggyback on what we're talking about
No.
to the Board of Selectmen.
Well, maybe,
This would have to be a different,
This would have to
A
be
whole
this
nother-
would be a whole other hearing.
and then we have to study it.
Yes.
okay, fine.
This is not piggybacking off of what we're talking about.
So, if you look, here we are on the east shore of the East Branch. This is Fisherville Lane that comes down here. So, if you see this area right through here, where there's marsh, and the marsh here, shore here, it gets very narrow, it's very shallow. There's a little island in the middle, and you work your way around, and there's a rock here. And you come around this corner, and you can't see what's coming, or there are boats that come through here in both directions. I have a neighbor who swims in this, right in this area.
He's a brave man.
It's a woman.
He's a brave.
And she brings her friends sometimes. And I've seen her swimming through here. And there are kayaks who come through there too. And as you've been mentioning, there's been this explosion of boats on the river in the last year or two.
COVID.
And, yeah, and so I've never seen until this summer more boats, larger boats. I haven't seen anything bigger than twin 150s, but that was enough to scare the heck out of me, because they come through here exploring, and they,
What, I'm sorry, what is the name of the preserve? There's a preserve over there? Is it-
yeah,
Tabor Point or something? No, I'm not sure.
It's around,
Just so we can have a name to
Yeah,
the
there's,
area.
yes, it's the only nature preserve walk that is only accessible by
Accessible,
boat.
yeah.
The
Yes.
Westport
Yeah.
Land Conservation Trust Walk, I think.
Yes, yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
sure what the name
there's
is.
supposed to be a landing there. and
you know, you know it, Alex,
Oh,
don't
yeah,
you?
but I'm drawing a blank. This is
Yeah.
It was Child Road.
I think it's
That
called
that
Tabor
was the
Point.
name.
I think you're
It
right.
might be, yeah, so, yeah,
And that's
yep.
right here. After you come out through this little very narrow spot, it opens up and the landing is right
And there's a
there.
landing over there.
Yeah, right here where my pen is.
It's the Let Conservation Area, that's what it's called.
That's what it's called. Okay, gotcha, thank you.
That's what I was gonna say, I've been there.
All right. So these, you know,
So are we talking specifically, because I know the area very well, the, not so well to remember the name, but I know the area well, and we bring the state water testing through there. That's also a boundary for the 1-inch shellfish area. And when you are going, let's just say that the aquaculture site is behind you and you are heading north towards Fisherville Lane, around that rock is lined, completely blind. And we take the state water testing through there because we have zones at Tabor Point, we have zones in the Let, we also have zones that then connect to Petty Heights. And so we need to take that access area in which we're speaking, and that is another situation where there's a rock, kind of like Lakes Island, where it's a rock, it's narrow, you can't see the other side of it.
that's right. This about a month ago, I was sailing up through this little cut, and I was coming north, and coming south, entering it, was a fellow with center console, and it wasn't, maybe it was just a 150 or something, and he was sort of feeling his way up, going south, because it was narrowing, and he wasn't sure of what was there. And I said to him, you know, I motioned to him, you know, like, low water, you know, I said, low water. Then I said, no water, you know, I was trying to indicate it's very low. So he looked at me, and then, you know, he's going along like this, just feeling his way, and he guns it. And then the boat's like this, and he's just roaring right up through there, around that, through this narrow channel and around that rock. You know, you can't account for what, you know, behavior people will do, and I'm just
It's
fearful.
river rage. Everybody is the #1 captain, and they think that they're the gift to whatever. And good for me, and watch out for everybody else. And unfortunately, that's how it goes. And people get very disturbed on the river when you telling them that they're doing something wrong.
So I know you guys, I don't know what your job is, I don't understand all the, well, I think I'm beginning to understand, listening to these meeting about the 300 feet and that sort of thing, and 150 feet, but I would just ask that, without trying to restrict people's freedom, their ability to enjoy their boats, that we all have to have some limits in some cases, and just for protection of each other. And so I'm here only to speak about this one zone and ask that you consider that as an additional area. I also heard about the financial issues of the buoys and so forth, but maybe that could be solved with some contributions and things like this, so that it doesn't, so that doesn't become I don't want that to become the deciding factor, like we can't put a buoy there because we can't afford it.
The buoy isn't the issue. The issue is that people will see other boats going by the Slono Wake, just as we'll see other cars on Route 88 doing 75 miles an hour. And it is impossible to have an official at every speed limit sign and every Slono Wake buoy. It's difficult. It's a difficult thing. And to have say, why don't you hang out there for 4 hours while the tide's high? It's difficult.
Yeah.
We can do spot checks, but we then become
That's
the
when
fireflies
enforcement
chasing
is-
fireflies.
yes, it's
It's
difficult.
Yeah, but you're right, Chris. I mean, you can't sit there, you don't have the manpower to do that
No.
for any, but if you know, these other slow, no-wake zones, the buoy's there, people respect it, most people do. Then they see the, I mean, how many people charge through the harbor here?
tons.
With
Well,
the,
none, okay.
with the
But-
upriver,
It cuts down a lot of people. I mean,
Yeah,
let's say for every 10 boaters,
Yeah.
maybe
you got the
2 of them.
300-foot rule. If you don't abide by it, I don't know how you can do anything.
No.
So you
We-
got that in place
We
already.
got guys that go flying through the main harbor. I mean, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so, I mean,
Well-
it's just,
I have staff, there's a few people on my staff that either work at Trips or own boats at Trips Boatyard. And I get texts all the time when the harbor master boat isn't there and they're on the gas dock or wherever.
and
Here
somebody go
comes
flying
somebody
by.
flying by. And usually, just like a police cruiser or something to that effect, when the harbor master boat goes by, everybody's hands go behind their back and they're looking at a bird in a tree and whistling 10 and 2, 30 miles an hour. And it's just, the harbor master boat comes and, oh, there's never any issue. As soon as that boat leaves, it's everybody's want and whim, and it's how they want to conduct themselves in public.
Well,
Unfortunately.
I'm sure that's true, but I do see that there's a lot of other people who do, they see those signs, the buoys, they slow down.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
They do.
But
So
I mean,
it does help.
getting
It
back,
doesn't solve it, but it helps.
getting back to what we were talking about earlier, and I think that we are just trying to, identify possible problems that could arise from blind turns. We've done it at Lakes Island. We're doing it with a motion at Widows Point. And that I do believe that in the area in which you're talking about with the rock, it is a blind turn. And it could be looked into a little bit further to say, maybe that's not a bad idea, because as the population explodes, people want to go and see the untouched places where you're not in the main channel by the
Yeah.
back eddy.
Yeah,
You're in a place
they
that
wanna
you
go
think
out
that
and
you are,
explore.
you are showing your family or whoever's in the boat your expertise. And as that unfolds, we need to prepare ourselves. Because I know that is a blind turn.
Okay.
And just going in the 16-foot aluminum skiff to do water testing, that it will make the hair on your back of your neck stand up a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna recommend that the Harbor Master Department research the area
Yes.
a little bit, and then maybe give us a report at our next meeting,
Sure.
okay? I
Yeah.
mean, that's,
Sounds good.
we'll take it under advisement,
Yep.
you know, and we're certainly willing to look at it,
Well, I can't ask for more. Thank you.
okay?
Thanks. Fellas.
Thank you, Mark. Just gonna put-
Speaking of, you said something about jet skis only, they should go out. I saw a couple of them racing across the bay to Cutty Hunk.
Well, there's some jet skiers that will go to Block Island, Tajmoon, wherever you want to tuck it, wherever you want to go. There's some crazy people out there.
Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, okay, Mark, thank you for coming in. All right, okay, I know we're pressed for time, Alec had dinner date.
Yeah, well, we can go through this pretty quick.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the
Yeah.
summer update.
The summer update.
And you wanna start with the
I-
federal channel?
Let's do this. Do you want to just do the summer update now? Is that okay?
Yeah, we'll do the,
Yeah, we'll just do.
The
Yeah,
money-
we'll just go back to the order.
Okay.
If you want to take my sheet, I have all of these numbers written down, so you don't
Okay,
have to
so
write
okay,
like
that'll be good.
a really fast.
so I'm just gonna say the fees.
Yeah, at this time, the state boat ramp thus far this year has collected $7,260. It's a little bit up from last year. The dock and slips that we've collected so far, $120,711. Our private mooring fees, $7,190. And our mooring rentals is at $2,500. I'm still chasing another $500, so it would be hopefully said and done $3,000.
Okay.
All of those are up from last year. We did have some fee increases. I can also add that we have tagged the entire river for waterway user fees. We've done our first round of tagging, and we are still collecting for waterway user fees.
So the state ramp, I know it's been busy as heck at times. Is that
At time, we had a slow start with the weekends being rained out for
rained
July,
out like
and so
now?
we had a
Probably,
little slow start.
Yeah.
Usually the state boat ramp will do somewhere around $10,000.
Yeah, I know by the end of the year.
Give or take. As for the federal channel, we'll just shift gears into the federal channel. There's no timeline that has been set
No time.
for any sort of dredging. I have not had any, well, trying
So
to think.
very little correspondence from them.
Yeah, there is something where we wanted to piggyback another project with the dredged sediment, and the Army Corps of Engineers has emailed back that there is no timeline yet. So we're just.
But as long as 12 to 20 stays.
Well, we are marking good water right now. I did contact the Bristol Aids Navigation, which is basically the Coast Guard in Bristol, and they do all of the federal channel markers and approaches into Westport. And I wanted them to come back because number 16 had broken free, and that is at the 88 boat ramp, waiting for them to redeploy, and to just take a look one more time to make sure that everything is marked. We did have that really high moon tide, some things moved around.
Yeah, it looked like
They-
20 and the
they look
next
a
green
little-
one was like,
They look a little funny, so
it looked like a
I contacted Bristol Aids Navigation to reset anything that's out of place and to reset the number 16.
Have there been any issues with grounding? There were a
At
couple
the
of years
southern,
ago.
at the southern end, it's getting down. At low tide, I think it's less than 8 feet.
Oh yeah, there's some spots, maybe a 5-foot hump at low tide. Sometimes if you go a little further east, it's better, but now with this pending storm surge and swell and the whole thing,
But it's
we're gonna see.
Most of our winds are gonna be northerly.
Yes,
but we're
But
still
we're
gonna
see.
get sand moved.
there's
Run
a lot of
above,
water
yeah.
moving, a lot of things.
Lot
are
of
moving.
move.
Pages are gonna be moving.
So we're just, it's more of a wait and see, but I haven't had any groundings that the harbor master boat had to go out and pull anybody out of that newly marked good water, and I'll call it the marked good water that's not where the channel moved. It's up to the Army Corps to make the decision whether they're going to do the dredge or they're going to say, oh, this channel is good, we'll just stick with that. You know, it's ultimately up to them.
I'm just calling it the temp channel, because
It's a temporary channel. It's marking good water, so.
Okay.
Other than that, we do have a couple of requests for moorings in Area B. These locations have been marked without any opposition from any of the commercial businesses that are there. Of course, we do not want to put any moorings in Area B that would be any sort of blocking of the channel or newly formed channel or any of the channels. Are kind of out of the way. Small sailing boat, and another one is like a picnic boat. And so in talking more about the mooring assignment committee for Area B, I believe that we have, Ed, you're part of that?
I haven't been.
Haven't been?
Yeah.
I was for a while.
Oh, you were, oh, okay,
You were
I'm sorry.
Ron for the shellfishing committee.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I will get in touch with you and Ron at a certain time that we can go out and we can go and take a look at.
yeah, let's wait till after the storm. It might
Oh yeah,
change.
no. But it's just something that if we could take a look at
Yes.
and take a look at these moorings
Yes.
from a member of the Harbor Advisory, the Shellfish Advisory, and myself to take a look. As far as I'm concerned, these are out of the way of any sort of commercial activity or federal channel activity. So we'll go for a ride and take a look at the markings. But I haven't had any opposition for these marked areas.
Where are they?
One of them is going to be somewhere on where the newly marked channel starts heading south,
Yeah,
kind of off in space away from the
Yeah.
Trips Moorings. There's about 4 feet of water there.
yeah.
And another one would be in the area of Jane Brayton Moorings, which would be at the mouth of the river, east of Charlton Wharf. We've looked at some aerials over there, and there is some space that's over there that is not in the channel or stepping on anybody else's toes. So,
Okay.
What happened to the mooring of what was it, Seatour? That was sat down there?
I believe that was closer to the herring ditch. Was that closer to the herring ditch?
No, it was east of, it was like a 27-foot
See,
trip.
oh, no, that's
For years.
that was a Cape Dory.
Yeah, okay.
It's a Cape Dory, 28-foot Cape Dory. That is in your neck of the woods, up in the West Branch, I believe.
Yeah.
Because the people live somewhere in the Cape, not Cape Isle, but what's the next lane?
Cape Isle, something
No,
like
but
that.
it's
But
north
anyway,
of Cape Isle.
doesn't that open up a spot?
It could. Yeah.
Okay. Any other business? All right, I select, looking at when you want to meet again, Chris? You want to
Sure.
meet next month? Let's meet after the selectmen meeting.
Yeah. So,
Let's see, let me get my calendar up. Everybody get their calendars up.
do you want to do like the October 17th, 24th?
17th, is that good for everybody? October 17th, a Tuesday, same time, same space?
Sure.
Okay, I'll put that down. And you will do some research on the request from
The area of, yeah,
Market request.
yes,
It'll be a
What day
Fri-
was it?
17th of October.
17th of October, it's a Tuesday, Alan. Thank you. A motion to adjourn? John?
Motion to adjourn?
Alec, I know you'll second.
Second that.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.